Yo, yo. Um, First episode of the show. A little nervous. It's late. I knew it was gonna be. It's 9:17. My children are in bed, finally. Madeline's gonna come down here and tell me goodnight. And Haley will just go out that way and then come back in that room and I'll get a quick good night, Haley, and good night, Dad, love you. And she's 15 years old, so we don't get hugs and kisses no more, she says. We're not a hugging family, which I don't believe that. I get hugs from my babies all the time. Uh Not gonna lie. I am not prepared for this, not one tiny little bit. Life gets in the way. I really thought that I'd have a fun little way to do this, a nice little planned itinerary. Instead, I looked on Grok and asked it to give me a timed little itinerary. So from 000 to 005, do a little welcome and icebreaker for 5 minutes. Host actions, greet everyone, do quick tech check. Oh, can everybody hear me? I like to ask that question. I decided not to do that because my mic is doing this little thing right here where it's just wiggling back and forth and back and forth. So I think we're good. I think you can hear me. It does like to jump into that red spot right there, though. So it might be a little too loud. Maybe we should just kind of bump that down just a little bit. Maybe that's better. Oh, this was not fun getting together. I'm glad I was able to do the little um, be on soon thing, but that was I listen. There comes a time in a man and a woman's age where we get old and we don't know how to work technology anymore. Just all out of a sudden, I don't know how to work technology. I don't know how to use this thing anymore. I don't know how to use my phone. I don't even know how to play video games anymore because me and my friends don't know how to get out of the start menu. Uh, hey, Brittany, how are you? Um, Please, Brittany, if you would like to participate, speak. This is our show. This is everybody's show. I want everybody to be involved. I can't do this. I'm not good at this. I don't even know if I want to do this. Like, it makes me nervous. But I do think it'd be fun. I do think that this would be a blast. So I'm going to do it. I told myself over and over and over, no, Richard, you're not going to do this. You're not going to be good at it. I'm going to do it because that's what I do with everything. I always tell myself, you're not good enough, stop. And, if something, it didn't happen. And like all the things that I wanted didn't happen whenever, you know, 3 weeks down the road, I didn't work for it. I'm trying to work for something. I want to work for something here at home. That would be a blast. Um, but yeah, last time I started comedy and that was fun. Uh, Thanks, Brittany. I appreciate that. That was fun. I wish I could do it more. It's just that I have to work really hard to do that, and I've got a lot of things on my plate, which thank the Lord. I love the things that are on my plate. Very delicious plate. Um, so that's on the back burner for now. I think that um, this would be a fun way to connect with you guys. Um, because that's what I want to do. I want to connect with everybody. I don't want to be. It's weird to say because I'm not, but I just don't want to feel alone. Like I felt alone for a long, 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 long time. And I don't think that I have to feel that way. And I don't think that anybody has to feel that way. I think that's a huge problem with this country is being lonely and being anxious and being depressed and just living sucky lives. Like, and I don't even say that like I have a sucky life. It's just the world that we live in today gives us what we got. And after COVID, it's not a lot. And I completely understand that. I hear that from all of my clients. Um, I'm sure all of you, it is a terrible feeling. You're right, Brittany. I'm sure all of you know who I am and what I do, but I do want to record these and put them out on, you know, YouTube and Facebook and everything, just in case somebody might want to follow along in the future with this book club. Um, let me sit up straight. My back hurts. Feel like I need good posture. Anyway, yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to be lonely anymore. I don't want to be angry anymore, and I don't want to be sad anymore. And I think a big part of that is connecting with the community that you have. Um, we're social creatures. We run in packs. Um, that's how we've survived um, forever and ever. We can't do this alone. I don't want to do this alone. I don't want to. I also want to love my neighbor. I guess we can get started with that. That's one of the reasons why I got into reading the Bible. It does take a village, and it is good to show compassion. And I've worked with women for 15 years now, and if there's one thing that the women in my life that I've had in my life has shown me is it has taught me is having a great deal of empathy for people. That's a woman trait. That's not a man's trait, and I am so grateful for the women that I've come across in my life to teach me that. So thank you for all of the people that, you know, may watch this. Others. What's up, brother? Love you too. Yeah, I love y'all. I don't think you guys realize how much I love y'all. And I want you guys to love me back, not in a I want all the attention and I have to, be the center of attention all the time. No, because I really do love all of you, everybody. I love my wife. I love my children. I love my family. I love my friends. And I love my community. I had a nice little talk with myself last weekend at our little golf trip. Um, and it was a nice talk. I actually wrote it down. You know, Now this talk may or may not have been under the influence of substances, but for me, everything is fine. I love my wife, my kids, my friends, everyone, and myself. And that's all that matters. Um, and that's, I mean, out of all of that, for me to be able to say that I love myself is something that has been very hard for me to do for a long time. And that feels good. And I couldn't do that without the people that are in my life. Uh, God, thank God for Cassie. Anyway, the Old Testament. Let's see. It's crazy to even talk about that book because I started reading it in January in tandem with this psychology textbook that I've been reading, which I'm also almost done with that. I have two more chapters. I was hoping to be done with that by the time I got this done because the last chapter is about therapy and possibly how to talk to people. I don't really honestly know what it's about. I really hope that it's that though. I'm really looking forward to it because if it's anything like the rest of the book, it's eye-opening and it's going to teach me a lot, um, especially about people. Um, anyway, I started reading the Old Testament in January, um, because I never gave Christianity a shot. Um, my family was as religious as they could be whenever I was younger as a child. We went to church every once in a while. It was a Pentecostal church, I think. They spoke in tongues and wore long dresses. So I'm assuming that's what that is. The title of this book, or the title of this show, is Dumb Man's Book Club. So you're gonna hear a lot of dumb things out of my mouth that might not be right. I think that's what it is, but I don't know. Anyway, um, and this church was just not it. Um, as a 40-year-old man, I couldn't imagine sending my children to the church that I went to. I used to have I mean, one of my fondest memories growing up is my Sunday school teacher, and I was probably 7, 8, something along those lines. Right in between Maddie and Nora's age. Anyway, we were being bad, I guess. I don't know. And um, our Sunday school teacher wanted to pray the devil out of the room. And you can only imagine how I felt as a child. Scared to death of the devil, scared to death of death. Um, man, that's I have been dealing with death since I was 2. We'll get back to that later, maybe one day. Um, no, I'm not 2. I was 5. Anyways, yeah, she wanted to pray the devil out of the room, so she left us children by ourselves for a few minutes, and came back and just started praying and kept going more fierce and louder and louder, and then the door just shuts. So now I have this deep psychological fear of the devil. And now, as a 40-year-old man, which I probably realized it when I was in my 20s, that woman had somebody come and either shut the door or use a back door as the wind to kind of suck the door shut or whatever it was. I don't know. But it was pretty despicable. So after that, I was afraid of what might happen if I did the wrong thing. And I guess I just, well, and then after that, that's not fair to Christianity, because after that, I attended Little Flock when I was about 16 years old. Thank you, Raquel, for sending for showing me that place, because that place will always have a special spot in my heart. There's a few Christians that I know. I don't know many, but a couple of them go to that church. Um, so I'm very grateful for them. Uh, and then after that, I um, was laying in bed one night, just fed up, praying to God, because I prayed a lot. So I got baptized at Little Flock. I remember that fondly. Uh, anyway, I was laying in bed, praying, and um, I asked God for a sign, because that was it. Um, Either I get a sign or I was out, and that's how it went. And I got my sign, because that morning after, Sandy Hook had happened. And I guess that was the first horrific shooting that we've been through that I remember, shooting wise. I mean, a school shooting of children. So I was done and I was angry and I was militant. And for the longest time, I didn't know it, but I was extremely depressed. Um, so fast forward, living the life that I was living, just pissed off at the world. Um, I guess almost 20 years later, I decided that I didn't know shit about Christianity. And not as a religion, but just as a movement. I don't know if I'm going, this isn't some, I'm a born again Christian. I don't know what I am. There's people that have asked me if I'll get baptized again. Um, and I say no, because it's not like my mother actually said this to me. I mean, it's not like it's not like because of the way I was living and because I was an atheist, I have to be baptized again. I mean, I just lost my way for a little bit. Um, because I've always said, even after I became an atheist slash agnostic slash atheist slash agnostic, back and forth, I would still ask myself, what would Jesus do? And to be honest, I don't even really know. I don't know what Jesus would do because I never read the book. You know what I'm saying? So I finally decided to pick up the book. Um, Cassie had really been wanting to go to church, and we would go on like Mother's Day and Easter, and I would always just I would go. I would be reluctant and go. Um, but after, I guess it was mother. I guess I don't remember if it was this last Easter or Mother's Day, but something really hit me. I don't know if it was what the preacher said or um, what it was, but I wanted to go to church. Um, and this was, yeah, I wanted to go to church. So I started going to church before I even read the Bible. And I'm going to tell you what, a year before that, I would have told you, yeah, fucking right. Excuse my language. Um, I'm going to have a little swear jar because I would like to stop cussing. I don't want to, I have too many clients that hear me cuss. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to have a little swear jar. And we're going to try to do this. Anyway, butters, empathy can be tough to express. You're right. Stream of conscious. It's gonna go here. It's gonna go there. Anyway, I wanted to go to church, um, and we started going. We started going every Sunday. Um, not because, um, not at first because of God and His teachings, but because of the community, um, and because it was a nice routine for me on Sundays. I mean, before we would just lay around and be a lazy Sunday, but now we're getting up in the mornings and getting ourselves ready and going to Church of the Crossroads in Washington, which has been amazing. And um and getting out of the house and enjoying our family in a slow pace. And that alone is worth it. Um, And then we started listening to the preachers. And like my dad said, we need more good preachers because we don't have very many. In Church of the Crossroads, they know what they're talking about. They have a good heart. I don't know them, but I'd like to get to know them. They're smart. They're very smart, and they seem like they really want to just preach the gospel. So that was cool. Uh, the coffee's great. The donuts are great. Kids love the donuts. So myself, if I was gonna do this, if I was gonna go to church, I should read the Bible. If I was going to give this another chance, then I should read the Bible and not act like I know what I'm talking about all the time because I like to do that. Um, so I started it and I just finished with the Old Testament, and it took from January to now, in between that and the psychology book. And I started reading it along, not just by myself. I actually used the Bible app, which I recommend you do if you want to do this book club. Get the app because we're going to be doing the New Testament, which I think is fine. We can talk about the Old Testament. I'm not going to be able to quote any scriptures to you, but I know the story now. Um, so we can talk about that and then get into the New Testament. I hope that I do it justice. Dumb Man's Book Club. Dumb man right here. We'll see how that goes. That's why I wanted to do this book club. Um, you're not going to be able to retain all of this information just by cramming a bunch of books in your head. I love to read and I love to learn, but it's very hard for me to retain information. Um, So one of those things that you can do is get together as a community and read books together and talk to each other and have conversations about the book and get other people's, different perspectives and their aspect of it and actually learn and study rather than just reading the words and just letting it float on by. Um, so where was I? I don't remember. I've lost my train of thought. Any of you guys can help me where that was. Let's see. Where was I? I know we were talking about how we were going to get into the Bible, the Old Testament. Oh yeah, I should read the book. I I said it before. I never gave Christianity a chance. I don't know jack shit about what's in that Bible. Quarter in the swear jar. Uh, and I don't think a lot of people do. That book is hard to read. I am willing to bet that a lot of people that believe in God have not picked up that Bible and have just read it from front to back. Maybe 10%. But, and if you have, good for you because this book is hard. That's right. I remember. I'm sorry. I apologize. Like I said, train of thought out the door. Um, the Holy Bible app. I read it. Actually, I follow along with the words and it reads it to me. So, uh, it's a good little app. And it'll, it's got a nice little. He sounds cool. He's soothing. He's not too boring. He tells me what, he gives me, because I'm a good reader. Like, I can spell words. I actually almost won the spelling bee in fifth grade, but I could not spell the word costume. I spelled custom. So after that, I decided that I was going to learn how to spell. Uh, so I know how to read, but some of these words, some of these names, and some of these places are just tough to pronounce, and I don't like it when I can't pronounce words. So uh, I have that, um, and I read 5 chapters. I'll read 10 chapters of a book, and after each chapter, I'll ask Grok, which is X, which used to be Twitter. Uh, it's their chat bot, and I would ask it, summarize and explain chapter 1 through 5 for me, and um, it did so. And it's like having a little tutor that has all the answers for me. I mean, it's not giving me it's giving me the Judaic aspect of it, God, and the Christian aspect of it, and the universal aspect of it, and what they thought about what it was in the ancient times, or however we knew it anyway, and how it applies to us in modern times. And then it was just off to the races because I have a complete understanding of. No, okay, that's a lie. I don't have a complete understanding of the Bible. That's crazy to say. I have a better understanding than what I did when I tried to read it when I was 10, 14, 18, 20, 25. After that, done, you know, wasn't even a man yet. Um, you're not ready to read that book until you are ready to read that book. And it's not for the faint of heart. Um, and then you get into it, and and this is just the Old Testament. I know nothing about the New Testament. I know a little bit about the New Testament. I know that Jesus Christ was a is a very good moral compass. Um, but I really don't know much. So we're giving it another go. How's that? We're taking a journey, and I hope that some of you will take that journey with me. Because I think we all could use a good moral compass. And from what I remembered, Jesus is a good start. Uh, so here we are. Uh, anyway, about the Bible, about the Old Testament. Mm, God created man. God created earth. God created man. God created women. They can, they eat they eat the fruit, whatever that fruit may be, because the serpent told them to. And then after that, it's just over and over and over of God's people doing the wrong things. And first there was a flood, um, that washed it all away. And then there is the situation with Egypt. And then there's the exile into the desert. Um, and then they get their city, and just then they need kings, and then they need judges, and God didn't want to give them these things, but they asked for these things, and they just over and over again just committed sin for generations after generations until finally they started to not only worship these idols that, God was jealous of, but also commit, you know, child sacrifices. And God had enough. And it's crazy, the parallels between then, um, and now. Um, Generation after generation of generation after doing more and more and more terrible shit. And look where we are now. How far does it go? I mean, when do we start sacrificing our own children? Because they've done it before. Who's to say they can't do that crap again? Oh, no swear, no quarter in the swear jar then. Caught myself. Uh, so yeah, let's get a little bit more good going. Um, Started reading with Crop. Use YouTube. Um, YouTube is great. YouTube has the Bible Project on it, and the Bible Project it gives you a nice little poster board of. I said this before, but I'll say it again and hopefully try to explain it a little better than I did last time. But it gives you a little poster board of each chapter of each book, and draws you up fun little characters and fun little stories and what those stories mean, you know um and puts it in this little 8-minute package for you, so you can get a almost like a visual of what's going on in this very, very complicated book. um yeah, the parts about building the ark and the the writing down all of the names and building the tabernacle and that stuff can get kind of boring, but it is important. Those things are important. um if you want to learn the book, you do need to know that stuff and what the arc actually is, which that's pretty cool. um uh so yeah, so that's the Old Testament, and now we are about to get into the New Testament. um and it starts with Matthew, and I'm starting it tomorrow, actually. I think it's only 15 chapters, I think. I don't think it's long. I think we can talk about it next Wednesday. Um, thank you so much, Brittany and Brett, for chatting. Uh, Kat, you're really messing this up for me, dude. For real. You gotta go. I don't know what's wrong with you. You got food. Relax. Thanks for joining in. That's Listen, I'm gonna need all the help I can get. So thank you very much. Um, Starting with the New Testament. I'm trying to figure out how to get people on here so we can actually chat um together. I think that would be fun. Like I said, I need all the help I can get. This isn't good. I know it's not. That was fun though. I can't believe I just spoke for 34 minutes. That's crazy. It looks like I have zero viewers, so that might be even crazier, actually. I just spoke to myself for 34 minutes for most of the time. That's okay. Uh, the next episode is next week. Um, I have a discussion page. Let's talk. Let's talk about the Old Testament. Let's talk about the New Testament. Let's talk about other books to read other than the Bible. There's so many things that I'd like to read. I'm looking forward to it. Um, I want to learn, so I got a lot of philosophical books and psychology books, and you guys don't have to. I don't think you guys. I'm not expecting you guys to stay for long for the whole ride. Maybe you see a book that you like, and you're like, "Ooh, I would like to read that book with him," and we can go through this together. But come in and out, hang out. Let's chill. Let's chat. Let's talk. Let's hang out. Mm, I'm hoping I see some of you. There's some of you that I hope to see for real. Um, a lot of you are. I value all of your opinions. Um, so I'm looking, even if it isn't anybody, that I can still do this. This really for me. I mean, honestly, like I'm learning a lot now. Speaking through this, I'm learning that we're probably going to have to go through the Old Testament again. I have my favorite books. Um, Ecclesiastes and Job. If you're not going to read the Bible, listen, if you're not going to read the Bible, and maybe you are agnostic, and maybe you are an atheist, and maybe you do think life is meaningless, and maybe you wonder why good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. And listen, that book was written over 2,000 years ago, and there are there are answers to some of my questions in there that I never thought that I would have gotten until I picked up that book. And maybe they're not your answers. That's fine. But whatever gets me through the day, you know what I mean? And this has not only gotten me through the day, but this has given me a new aspect on life and a new, um, just new eyes, new eyes. Um, so yeah, I think we did well. 37 minutes is fine. I hope you guys watch this. I hope that we all learn from this. I hope that I don't say anything dumb. Um, I hope that I don't hurt anybody's feelings with the things that I say. Listen, sometimes I'm a paranoid person and I don't like to do this stuff. It just depends on the day. And the last thing I want to do is hurt anybody's feelings or make anybody upset. Uh, I like to say stupid jokes sometimes. I like to be sarcastic. I like to poke fun and you know, I also like to do that stuff to myself as well. I can take a joke just as well as I can give one back. Nothing that you can say can hurt my feelings because I love myself and I love you. So, that whole Charlie Kirk bullshit, quarter and a swear jar. Um, that man had, if anything, that man had two babies, a wife, and an opinion. And we all have those opinions. And I don't want to get on here and say something to where I'd get punched in the nose or shot in the neck. And man, when you look at it like that, whenever I wouldn't want that. I mean, God, I don't even know what to say about that. That's just so crazy. Like, think of, I mean, I have my opinions. Some of Charlie Kirk's opinions I agree with, and some of Charlie Kirk's opinions I don't agree with. Some of those opinions that I agree with, I think may have gotten him shot. Um, we don't have to agree. I don't. I mean, I honestly believe that that guy did not hate anybody as well. I don't hate anybody. I don't think that. I never saw any really, dude, if this has been on pause for so long, dude, that'd be crazy if that was muted for this long. I wonder if y'all heard me. That would be episode one. Anyway, I don't want to talk about the Charlie Kirk thing. Rest in peace, dude. That freaking sucks. He didn't deserve that. Mm. Matthew, next week, next Thursday. Let's read it. Let's talk about it. I'm not ending on a sad note like that. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. I can't wait to do this again. Hopefully I'm not on mute because that would be annoying. Peace, guys. Love y'all. How do I stop this whole thing? There